In this video, we are going to be solving this equation for x. What that means is we want to find out what x is equal to, okay? So our answer is going to have x on the one side of the equal sign and then have some number value on the other side of the equal sign. Now, in math, it doesn't really matter which side our unknown, or in this case x, ends up on. However, because of math convention, which is just the way we do things in math, we like for the unknown, in this case the x, to end up on the left-hand side. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to start solving. This problem, it's going to take a few steps, okay, for us to get x by itself. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, when I'm looking at this problem, this 6 seems to be a problem, okay? In order to get the x by itself, it can't be divided by something, okay? And that's what this is. This is a fraction. A fraction is simply a division that we have not done yet, okay? So when we think of it that way, we need this 6 to move. We need it to move to the other side of the equal sign. So the way we do that is we do the opposite action or the opposite operation. So since we have a division here, if we were to multiply by 6, these two 6's would cancel and the 6 would have moved. Now, this is where it can get tricky. Whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do that to the other side, okay? So if we want to multiply the right-hand side by 6, then we have to also multiply the left-hand side. So I'm just putting brackets around this minus 1, okay? And we're multiplying by 6. So we have 6 times this minus 1, and that is equal to 5 plus x over 6 times 6. So since we have multiplied both sides by 6, okay, we're not changing our equation, okay? Now, we're going to start to simplify. First, we're going to look at the left-hand side. So 6 times negative 1 is simply negative 6. And that's going to be equal to, well, we have 6 times 6. They cancel out. And we're going to be left with 5 plus x. Now, technically, this 5 plus x is over 1, over the number 1. But any number that's over the number 1 is simply whatever the numerator was. Okay, so in this case, we had 5 plus x. It was over 1. So what we're left with is minus 6 is equal to 5 plus x. Okay, so we're going to need to do another step. All right, the x isn't by itself yet. We have this 5 is added to an x. Okay, so remember what I said before about the opposite operation? So if we're adding a 5, if we subtracted a 5, they would cancel out, right? So we're going to subtract a 5 from both sides of our equation. Okay, now we can simplify. Negative 5 minus 6, that's negative 11. These 5's cancel out, and we simply have x. Now, remember what I said at the beginning about math convention and how we prefer if our unknown was on the left-hand side of the equal sign? And here we go, we got our answer, and it's on the right-hand side. So we're going to move it. Now, because we've already solved this, okay, we just have a number on one side, and we just have our x on the other side. What we're going to do is we're just going to swap the two sides, okay? We don't have to do any multiplication, division, no operations. We're just simply swapping them, okay? Negative 11 equals x is the same thing as saying x equals negative 11, okay? And that's our answer. So in order to solve this problem, we were looking for what x was equal to, and in order to do that, we had to take a few steps to get there to isolate our x, and then our final step was to put our x on the left-hand side. Now, this answer here, with the x on the right-hand side, is correct. However, most teachers, most programs, most tests or exams would prefer if your unknown or your x was on the left-hand side, and that's why we moved it. Okay, but the answer is exactly the same thing. X equals negative 11. If you would like to learn how to quickly study for your GED exam online and get a new resume, then visit testprepskills.com.